Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Ivan, and today I am going to be showing you guys some basic things about functions. So let's get started. Let's insert a script and let's go. So a function is kind of a loop, but it's not. I'll show you how to make a function. A function in scripts would be if you write a function and you would name your function, like, I don't know, example function, and then you would write these parentheses, and if required you would write a variable for your example function, but in this case I am not going to be using one. You can do anything with the function. You can write any code you want, so you can just write anything and then you would just write this and then boom. Well, alright, so let's insert a part. Let's scale it a bit how you want. For those of you that want to learn how to build, by the way, this is off topic of what I'm doing, but just saying, if you guys want to learn how to build, you guys can ask me in the comment section and I'll help you out to build. And yeah, anyway, back to our script. So a 12 by 13 part, or I'm just gonna make it like that. Yeah, there we have this nice part. Alright, let's just say local part equals workspace dot part, and then we'll create an explosion. That's what I want to do, but then I'm like, no, and then I came back at it. But anyway, a workspace, and then the explosion's position is going to be the parts parts position. And yeah, so basically what we just did is with this function we have defined a variable for this part. We defined a variable for the creation of the explosion, and then the explosion's position is going to be in the parts position, and all we have to do is just call the function, and this makes the function to be called. Imagine if you were, alright, let's just do Control C, and without using that calling function, and if you were to execute the script, nothing would happen. Why? Because we did not call the function. In order to do that, we simply just do example function, and that way it would work. Let's do this again, and alright, there you go. Oh wait, it lagged, but still the explosion happened, just lagged a bit. Alright, I'm gonna destroy that, and let's do it again. It lagged. There you go. See? So always remember that when you're doing a function, you always remember that you have to call the function, because without that, if we just comment that, nothing's gonna happen. Okay, so I hope you guys understand that. So now so you don't have to call the function right away. For now, we can just erase that and keep the function here. And let's say, well, let's destroy this explosion. Let's say if let's say if the part were to be touching another part. It kind of sounds complicated, but I don't know. Alright, so let's say if the part is being touched by something. Oh, oops, I just forgot that I didn't define the variable. I defined the variable inside the function. So if I'm outside the function, like outside of this end, then the variable is going to be undefined. So that's why we create the variable outside of the function. Just create it here, or you can create it here, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's outside of this area, and then it would work. So so part that touched connect function, and our variable is going to be hit. If hit is a part, we're checking if the hit is going to be a part instead of the terrain. Because why am I doing that is because that if I were to erase that and not have that, then the part and the script will think that anything it touches, the terrain, the part, whatever that is touching it, it's going to explode. Well, according to my code. But so that's why I don't want that to happen. Oh, oops, I actually forgot. Yeah, this is supposed to be T. Always remember that's how you write the connect function. And make sure the C is capitalized, not like that. It's supposed to be with the capital one. And erase these parentheses. But anyway, if hit is a part, then then we'll just write this. Now the part is this part is supposed to be touched by another part, not the terrain. So that's why it's not going to be called. I mean, it is called, but the thing is that nothing is going to happen. As you can see, nothing happened. And the reason why is because we wrote an if statement that if the hit of the part, so the thing it touched is the part, then do the explosion. We call it the explosion, but the part currently is touching the terrain. Yeah, this is the terrain, it's not the part. So that's why it didn't work. But if we were to have, let's duplicate this part, and it's now touching it. And then if we call it now, if we do this again, and since it's now touching the part, it'll explode. Wait, what? Why did it not explode? That has to be some kind of mistake. Alright, so I think we're not going to be using the command line now. I guess I'll just be using the alright, there it loaded, and there's my character. Where is, yeah, there it is. So let's not focus on our client side, let's focus on the thing, the part. So I'll just do this, and I think it might work. Nope, it didn't work. Okay, I don't know why it didn't work, but it was supposed to, and I'm pretty sure that everything correct. So yeah, it should have worked, but I don't know why it didn't work. But anyway, I'll try to use a different example. Let's say let's try something different. Let's say as if the lighting would be at night. So say, let's do an if statement. If game at lighting the time of day. No, I'm gonna do clock time. That's gonna be better like that. The clock time equals 0. That means like 12 a.m. at midnight. Then we'll make this happen. So it's not midnight. It's currently the middle of the day. It's 12 p.m. right now. So nothing is going to happen. Now, if we make this 12 a.m. at midnight, then it should work now. Boom. There you go. What we just did is, alright, so you guys know this, blah blah blah, explosion, the parts position, the explosion position is going to be the parts position, and we did an if statement, and we called the function. So if the lighting's clock time is 12 at midnight, then if we will call the function, and it will do what we wrote, which is this. We define a variable, it creates the explosion inside the workspace. The explosion's position is the parts position. And if the lighting's clock time is 12 at midnight, then we call the function. Now, just saying, you don't have to use functions, but they're really good to use. It keeps your script more organized. I don't know. I don't really use that much. I don't really often use functions, but still, it's a great use. You know. Now, this is just the function. If we were to copy and paste this, it would kind of work the same way. But if we were to do this, wait a minute. Oh, this is supposed to be for events. Yeah, it would work the same way, but yeah, if it was to be an event like with a touched event, then we will have to write local function. I don't really know why, but for some reason in these events, like any event, say the parts touch connect function, then if we were to write function example function, then what? I give up. Yeah, so, but for some reason it's supposed to be in events. It's supposed to be local function for some reason, and it would throw me an error if I would do it without this. But for some reason it's not showing me an error, so I don't even care. So yeah, I don't even know why I said that, but yeah. Anyway, alright, let's do another example. Let's say, alright, let's remove this if statement, and let's make the lighting go back to its normal time, which is 12 p.m. in the middle of the day. And what other example could I make? Alright, so we have covered functions where you could insert a code inside it, and then you'll just call it by simply writing the function's name, which is example function. You can name your function anything you want, as long as it's the same thing as the function you're going to be calling. Because imagine if you were to write blah blah blah. See, it shows you an error. because the function isn't defined. So that's why we keep it the same way as the function we are going to be calling. Alright, well, I don't know what else can I cover? What else can I really do? Alright, let's try doing, how about a UI? No, not UI. How about if we were to press on the part, then it would explode on the other part. Why is the rotation weird? Okay, I have an idea. So part, and then I'm gonna call this the explosion part. Let's try a different example. So local part equals script.parent.part. It works the same way as if you were to write workspace apart, but still I wanted to make it like that. But it's on you. You can do workspace.part if you want to. Just saying. But yeah, anyway, now the local explosion part equals script.parent and explosion. Explosion part. Now let's do part that touched. Oh wait, actually, yeah, I forgot we need to rewrite the function. Let's now name our function as explode. How about that? I also have another example for you guys, but for now I'll do this with explosion part, and then I'll cover another. You can also do functions with events instead of just writing script.parent.touched or something like that. You can always write a function and then write the event, and instead of putting a variable, you would put the name of the function. I'll show you that later, but for now let's do this. Alright, so yeah, local explosion equals instance.new explosion workspace and explosion.position equals explosion part.position. And so there, this is what's going to happen. We can also like do some kind of another thing if we want. You can do like insert a fire instance.new not explosion fire inside the explosion part. Wait, let's make sure these are anchored. Yes, they're anchored and anchored. Great. So now fire size, let's make it 10. So yeah, an explosion is going to happen, and then it's gonna insert a fire. Let's make it wait a second, just 1 second. Alright, great. So now part.touched connect function hit, not hot, my bad. Hit is hit.parent find first child, which is a humanoid. Humanoid. Then you don't have to write this part though, which is a part, but I just do it because I don't know, I just feel like just saying. You can always do find first child, or you can do find first child of class. Yeah, I think it's like that, right? Yep, it's the same thing. Just to make it simpler, I'll just erase this part, and the three ways that they work the same way. Define first child, which is a, or define first child of class. But anyway, if kids.parent find first child humanoid, if we find a model, a parts parent, which is the humanoid, then we'll make the explosion happen. Explode. So there. Always remember to call your function if you're doing one, of course. But alright, let's move my spawn closer into those parts. Wait, what is it? Why is it under the terrain? Let's just put it over here. There. Okay, good. So press play over here. It's a small play button that you can press on if you're not in the home home tab. Alright. Now let's test this out. Alright. Oh yeah, I'm kind of confused now. Which is the explosion part where let's see the... Alright. So that's the part we should step on. Let's touch. Boom. Oh, well, since we're touching it and the explosion still happens, so if you stop touching it, it'll stop. And there's the fire. Ooh, that's a lot of fire. That's a whole candle. Ooh, I'll make a lot of lag. Let's see how much fire is that. Ooh, dang. Let's select all children. Man, that's 35 fire. Well, it works. And if we touch it again, it explodes and it adds more fire. Step on it. We get out. It stops. Step on it. Creates explosion and more fire. So yeah, that's another example I did for you guys. So let's do my final example. And we now can destroy the explosion part and erase this whole code. Now imagine if you were to be coding a script with the player added function, like as if you were to write a script to add for the player, and then you would write the player variable. Well, instead of doing that and making your code a bit shorter, you can do a function. Instead of doing that, we can do function player added. We named our... Oh yeah, and we also need the player variable. Yeah, I was going to talk to you about it, and I forgot about it. That you can also add variables in your functions, and yeah. So then say, what can we do with the player? Say if we were to create leader stats, say local leader stats equals instance.new folder, and going inside the player, leader stats.name equals leader stats no, then we'll do local money, how about that, equals instance.new int value, which is going to be inside the leader stats, and we'll name the leader stats, the money, to simply money, and money.value is going to be 0. Alright, let's just make our script more organized. Put variables here. Erase that. There you go. That's more organized. Alright. Here's the event. Now we need to call it with the event. Now with the player added event. So game.players.player added connect. And then inside this, instead of putting the word function, we would put the function itself, the player added. There. That's how would you do to code the player added event. This is a one version how you would do that. Let's say version 1 for player added event, and then version 2 would be like game.players.player. I'm just going to do the same thing and show you the difference. Connect function player. And then let's copy that. So that's how would you do it. To me, it looks like, wait, how many lines is that? 14, 15, 14, that's gonna be 7. Yeah, 7. And then here, well, let's just remove the space here. I wouldn't count that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's actually, there is no difference, honestly. For here it's 8 and here it's 7. There isn't much of a difference here. So whether you want to write it like that, it'll still work, or whether you want to write it like that, it'll still work anyway with any event, not just the player added event. But these are the two ways how you would define the player added event, and including it with a variable. And yeah, so but we're focusing mainly on functions, so I'd rather just erase that. So here, now, yeah, we can also delete that. So now we can join the game. And once we join the game, inside our player object, we are going to have our later stats folder. So as soon as we actually join the game, we will have our later stats folder, and inside the later stats folder, we're going to have the money value, the money object, and the money value. As you can see, the later stats were created. So inside the player object, and inside the player object we have the later stats folder, and inside the later stats folder we have the money int value, and the value is 0. You can change it if you want, but yeah, so it works. That's how you do functions. And yeah, I am going to conclude the video now. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something from this video. I hope you guys understand better how to use functions. Remember, functions, it's optional. You don't have to do it. You can just straight out do it the event, like I showed it to you guys here. It was down below, the version 2 I was talking about. Yeah, I don't often use functions because I'm more comfortable just writing down the event. But in some cases, you're going to need functions. Like if you were to write a loop, and inside your code it's all filled with a lot of lines that you write, then you would have to create a function to group up the lines, to group up the lines you wrote that are pretty much the same thing, that do the same thing, and you would just write the function and then you would call it once you would do an event, or yeah. So yeah, anyway, subscribe if you have not, leave a like on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next upload.